Okay, things that I had to assemble was a portion of the base with the wheels and all of that. I don't think it's a huge deal. Table saw is attached to the base by carriage bolts, 2 on each side. Pretty easy to do. The moving items, you know, the moving part of this stand took a little bit of manipulation to line up the holes. That's about it. The way it comes out of the box is kind of like that. The fence is stored underneath somewhere. I guess it's stored down here on this end. No big deal. The next step is to make sure this thing is lined up and true. As you can see, I don't have the instruction book out here with me. I'm going to crank up the blade to its maximum height, which is there. As you can see, the riving knife is already on it. So one of the first things I'm going to do is check to see how well they've lined up the riving knife blade. That side's good. Catching on the, all right, that side's good. So it's good there. We're going to check to see how well the fence lines up with the blade. And that appears to be dead on, but we're going to make sure of it. I'm going to take my handy dandy, more accurate than eyeballs, digital calipers. Turn them on, zero them out, and I'm going to choose a blade on here, and I'm going to make it the magic blade. But I'm not going to measure from the carbide tip. I'm going to measure from the surface of the blade itself that supports the carbide tip. So we're going to mark that, and I'm going to choose this one right here. Just going to color it up, make it easy to see. Alright, that for the rest of the day is the magic tooth. And the way I'm going to measure this is I'm going to put this in here, and I'm going to lock it down. You hear that pop? That sucker's locked down. Alright. I'm going to lock it down. I'm going to move crap out of my way. And I'm going to measure from this side over to the fence. I've got 4 17/32. Take that magic tooth, I'm going to rotate it over to here. Move shit out of the way. 4 17/32. 9/16. 9/16 would be 18/32. So this is 1/32 off. So it's 1/32 that way. Don't know if I want to adjust that or not. A 32nd of an inch that way, away from the blade, actually gives you a little bit of a safety factor, but it also introduces a little bit of error in your cut. I'll figure that out shortly. The next thing I want to do is I want to check square on the blade itself, because there is a possibility that this measurement could be affected by this measurement if it's not square to the table. So let's see what we got. That blade, that is one perfectly square to the table blade in that direction. Let's check square to the miter slots. So how do you do that? Well, you do it with your calipers again, or you can do it with your combination square. If you use a combination square to check square, loosen it up, get a loosey-goosey, get your magic tooth in a position where you can measure it, put your combination square in a miter slot, nice and solid, and then move that up against there. Alright, without moving this, tighten it up. Go to the next miter slot, take your magic tooth, get it over here, and check it. And it is right there. So the blade is square to the miter slot on this side. Let's check the other side. Take this off. Set it here. We'll check the magic tooth over here. Alright, without moving it, tighten it up. Make sure I didn't move it. I didn't. Move the magic tooth over. Flip the square over. It looks to be a little off, according to this miter slot. But it's okay according to that one. Okay. Alright, so the miter slots are not perfectly parallel. They're not very far off. Let me show you. Right there is how far off that thing is from that miter slot. It's less than a 32nd of an inch. a little over a 64th of an inch. I'm not really going to sweat the load, I don't think. Move that over there. I want to check the other side again. Move that up just a touch. You want to keep your square in the miter slot. You don't want to be touching the tooth, you want to be touching this part of the blade. Alright, tighten it up. Move the magic tooth over. It's just for consistency. And you know what? It's off. Yeah, it's off about a 32nd here too. So the blade is kind of twisted this way according to the miter slots. Not much. I'm going to try a few cuts here in a little bit and see how badly that affects everything. I may or may not want to adjust that. I don't know yet. Everything else is pretty square, so I am going to fire it up and try it. I'm not putting the blade guard on, not putting the anti-pawl device on. I'm just going to try a couple of cuts. See what happens. It's got a bunch of friggin' grease on it. Alright, so that right there. It is level enough now. As close as it's going to get there. So we'll move it. About where I want it. Lock it down. Get the push stick. Okay, we're going to raise this up a little. See if that will go past where I just cut. It will. Alright. Doing a little slice off of here. See how bad the blade line is going to mess with me. As you can see, a zero clearance insert would probably be a good idea. Where did that little sucker fall down at? So that's what I sliced off. And it didn't make a perfect cut. See if I can mark that out for you. Okay, so there's a couple of little ridges. See one right here, and the other one is right there. You just kind of see it there. And that's from the misalignment of the blade. And misalignment of the rip fence. So I'm going to change the alignment on the rip fence. I'll leave the blade for now. Align the blade. On position 1 bolts, it is. Don't secure the latches. Alright. We are not securing the latches. Move the rails. Indicator lines up with 0 on the top scale. Alright. They are a bit out to lunch, but we'll do it. Alright, lined up with 0. Lock it down. Pop. Slide the fence with the front back screws towards the blade until the fence touches the blade teeth at the front and the back. Okay, where are... So you loosen that one. This little guy. And you loosen that one. And they will now slide in the slots. And we are going solid up against that. Tighten that one. You tighten that one. Alright. Sucker's tight. Unlock it, move it away, move it back. Looks good. Alright, so that one's good. I'm going to put these guys back in here before they get hot enough to catch something on fire. I mean, I'm telling you, this Nevada sun is cooking. Life in the high desert, man, I'm telling you. My birds are trying to get in on the act, my doggone quail. If you buy one of these brand new, be prepared, it's spendy. Now I want to line that one up. See what it says about that. position 2, which is what we're going to do now. Alright. Loosen these guys up. Move that out of the way. About a half turn. Lefty loosey, righty tighty, right? Okay, lefty loosey, righty tighty. Yeah. Fence alignment holes in the blade wrench. Guess I better find the blade wrench, which is down here. And I just found the Allen wrench that they give you. And everything falls apart. It's alright. Blade wrench. Fence alignment holes. I'm confused. Alright. Gotta remove the fence. Alright. We've removed the fence. So, it appears that we do that. And okay, that one's already tight. And now all we gotta do is tighten that guy down. How about that? That is slick shit. The tolerance is pretty tight, so I don't see why this won't work. As you can see, it's not just coming off of there real easy. Oh yeah, that was off quite a bit. It was off quite a bit in the back. May have to get a persuader out. Alright. Yeah, that's good. That's good. Notice I'm not putting a lot of pressure on these. That's good. That's alright. So according to this, the fence should be aligned. Now, we will put this sumbitch back in the position 1. Latch it down. And we will go to 0. By golly, 0 lines right up. Alright, The graduations on this look to be 1/16 of an inch. Graduations on the scale, 1/16 of an inch. I can deal with that. To move the blade this way and this way, and that's exaggerated, if you're going to move that blade along that axis, you're not going to be moving more than a few thousandths of an inch. Not worried about the left side being lined up. The pointer's good. Riving knife is pretty well aligned. I like it. I'm not the least bit worried about it. That's a riving knife. What the riving knife does is allows you to operate a table saw and when you're making rip cuts, it prevents the wood from pinching against the blade. So we're going to make another rip cut here. Let's see, that edge is looking pretty screwed up, so let's true that up a little bit. Move this over. How much do I want to take off? Yeah, I do. I want to take off about that much. This is not an exact measurement according to this. From here to here is going to be, yeah, 2 7/8. Fairly close. We'll get some things off the table. I'm going to set the blade height. I know somebody's already asking, but what about your miter cuts? I don't care about the miter cuts at this time. Stand up. Use my hand to the featherboard. Push it through. That was interesting. Zero clearance insert needs to be made.